Okay, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse today, Friday, August 9th, 2024. It's pretty windy, but hopefully this will be audible. On the Trump docket, surprisingly, yesterday, Jack Smith, but it was a joint filing, but it was submitted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. They postponed. They asked for a postponement, and I believe that they're going to get it. There was a filing that was going to be due today about how to go forward on the January 6th case before Judge Chutkan. In light of the immunity decision of the Supreme Court. But they've asked to push that back to August 30th, and they've asked to push what would have been an August 16th court appearance back into September. Many are surprised, many are disappointed, some are, I don't, in any event, that's it. We'll cover it. Whenever it happens, we will be covering it. We've been covering here because that's what's taking place. It's a very strange, but it's in a huge courtroom because there's a lot of money at stake. FuboTV suing this, it's called Venue. I thought it was called Raptor. That was the code name internally. In the same way that Capital One and Discover called their thing Sirius. We've exposed that. This is an aside. We've exposed that, and also the fact that before the merger was announced, in fact, as far back as months before it was announced, they floated it to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Project Sirius, they were able to, this Navarrete, Andy Navarrete of Capital One, was able to reach out to the OCC and meet at very high levels and say, you know, can Rich Fairbanks call you up? Sure, 7:30 by Zoom, no problem. Corporate capture. Now this is a fight not to suck up to the government, but it's a corporate fight between Fubo, and I believe DirecTV is on their side, against the behemoth called Venue, which is a joint venture of Disney, Fox, and Warner. They're supposed to launch in August. Basically, the case could impose a preliminary injunction, and that's why we're covering it. Because we are. On the crypto front, yesterday the SEC made an additional filing opposing Coinbase's attempt to get Gary Gensler's emails. They've limited it now to just since he's been atop the SEC, but the SEC said they've done a preliminary run of the search terms, and it's 692,000 documents, and they don't want to give them up. If you know the number, just turn them over. It's pretty easy. Hit forward. I guess they'd have to redact. We'd have to see. That's what's going on. Now I've been reporting on this NYCHA bribery 70 defendant case, and yesterday I spoke with one of the defense counsels who will remain unnamed, who pleaded his client out or advised his client to plead, and the client did. I spoke to him with the client right there, so I felt a little. Anyway, he obviously was comfortable with his decision. He said that they decided to plead, despite the potential of using the Snyder decision of the Supreme Court to essentially knock off or at least push down the case, because they just didn't know what was out there, and they didn't trust, according to him, they didn't trust the prosecutor's office not to jack up the charges with information they weren't aware of late in the process and say other contractors say you gave this. So they took what they could get, and they hoped that the judge that they're assigned to, who's the judge we've reported on, but we're going to stay. We're leaving this all very cloak and dagger because it was rare. It was rare to get this inside view from a counsel I hadn't spoken with before. Turning to the United Nations. The United Nations. There's a former UN official, expert from Canada that's been arrested in Switzerland for allegedly providing information to the Chinese government. It's fox hunt gone Canadian. Canadian fox hunt. Incredible. Not even a China. I mean, it's amazing. And finally, amid all the news about Bangladesh, not covered is the fact that the Bangladesh army was using UN vehicles while they shot students. And the UN has pretended after the fact to be so concerned, but this has happened before. This has happened before, where you have basically countries that are repressive, that the UN desperately takes them as peacekeepers and then allows them to use that to repress their own people. It's a scam. We'd like to go in and ask about it. They've banned us from going in, but we will not rest. But you should rest. Have a good weekend. Inner City Press, back on the beat.